Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is Kim. Today what we're going to do is repot or replant a sansevieria, or otherwise known as the snake plant. I purchased a large plant at Home Depot last night, and it's in really soggy soil with lots of gnats, kind of smells, and we want a lot of littler plants or a lot of smaller pots placed around our home, just like you probably think of when you see one of these majorly big plants. When they outgrow the pots, when they need more room, you're going to need to repot or replant your large sansevieria. And it can be intimidating because it is a heavy plant with large, it grows via rhizomes. So what happens is that it has a root system, but it also has these long tuberous rhizomes that grow horizontal. So they fill up the planters or the pots that they're in quite quick once they're well grown. And so sometimes they end up splitting the pot. So one of the things that you want to do is break it apart, which can seem like it's a daunting task, being that it's a heavy plant, it's a very firm plant, and it might be entrenched in the pot quite a bit. So I'm going to show you. I have another video that's probably going to go away because I missed an important step in that video. It's a very popular video, and I've received a lot of compliments and comments about it, and I thank you very much. But what I failed to do in that video was to show you a very important step, and that is how to break the plants apart, what it's going to look like, and you're going to need to use a little bit of strength and that to get the plants separated from one another, but you're not going to hurt the plant. The plant is going to be just fine, and I'm going to show you that step in this video and make this video a little bit more comprehensive, so stay tuned. Alright, here's the plant that we're looking at separating. It's probably, it's nearing the 2 feet. It's in this pot. I've got the tissue around it because, like I said, it's full of gnats, and I have way too many plants in the house that I don't want all of a sudden to become infested with gnats. So we have that sitting in there just as a cover up for right now. Buy these smaller pots at Home Depot. They're less than $1 a piece. I figure we're probably going to get 3 plants out of this bigger plant. And then for house plants, not for my garden plants get purple cow. But for my house plants, we just go with the Miracle Grow. I do a mixture of the potting mix and then a mixture of fast draining formula for cactus and succulents. So we mix those two together, and then we get a really good blend so that it's enriching and it's full of nutrients, but it's also fast draining, and that's very important. A sansevieria, otherwise known as a snake plant, is considered or falls into the family of succulents. Okay, I have a helper, my husband. He's going to help me break this plant up because I know what I want to have filmed, whereas he might not. So he's going to do the breaking up of the plant, and I'm going to film what I think is really important for you to see. So first we're going to take the plant over to the sink area. Most people may do this in the garage or outside, but this is early spring in Wisconsin, and this is the best that we can do. So we're going to take things over to the sink. There is going to be a mess, no doubt, but it's going to be a type of mess that we can easily clean up. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab that pot, and I've done it, but as I said, today my husband's going to do it. You're going to grab that pot to try to loosen the soil, try to loosen the plant, because it is entrenched in there, even though it's soggy, soft and wet. And then what he's going to do is try and grab one of the clusters of the leaves, which will come up easy now. And as you can see, you'll see the rhizomes, and you'll also see the root system of the plant, which again, it's a nice looking root system. But you'll see how long the rhizome is. I mean, several inches, 8 or 9 inches long in this one. So you're going to take some of that soggy soil that may or may not have more gnats in, and you're going to shake it, and then you're just going to put the plant down in the sink. And you're going to grab firmly a hold of the other set of leaves. The leaves are hard. That's their texture. He's bringing it up, as you're going to see. The roots look nice, they don't look rotten. If they did look rotten, I've been told that you can clip off roots that look soggy or rotten. Don't overdo it, but I've been told you can do it a little bit. So as you see, you just take away some of that soil. And then we were able to separate it. We're not tearing the plant or anything. Separated it into two clusters that each have a couple of leaves. And then we have that whole pot of, I don't know if you'll see it, but we have a gnat flying around. Don't like gnats in the household. Gonna put that pot in a plastic bag because we're not going to use any bit of that soil for anything. Alright, so this is what you're going to see once you've separated, you know, this big cluster of leaves. This was in there, and this one was in there. And what this one looks like is, let's see if I can get this in the sink. My rhizomes quite long on this one. Is what we have here is we have the parent leaves, and then as you see the rhizome coming out of the parent leaf, we have what I always call babies. So babies have these like points on the end. Almost looks like little miniature claws. So that rhizome shot out, shot across, and developed this baby, which this is a new leaf then. So this old leaf, you can see it's all scarred up, has this new leaf. And we may not even keep well, we might, just so that to ensure the baby lives. But the baby is really healthy, brand new. Whereas this is kind of worn and scarred and stuff like that. But I think we'll keep them together, so for right now anyways. So what we have sitting here in the sink, each with a root system. Nothing looks like it's soggy or moldy or too overly wet in the root system, are 3 plants. And we're going to put each one of these plants in the soil mixture, or the cactus and the potting soil, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Alright, what I did decide to do, because with the baby, the pot was going to be really lopsided, because the baby was going to be pulling one way and the parent plant another. So I did, and this works. You're able to snap that off. The baby still has its own root system, and he's fine. And then the parent plant, there were 3 other fairly new leaves that the baby plant was connected to. And that also has its own root system, so that's a plant that we can plant in a container. And then the old scarred leaves, you're able to snap them off. And so this is an old scarred leaf that's not going to be replanted, and this is an old scarred leaf, and that's also not going to be replanted. So what we're looking at here are 4 plants. And now I'm going to start mixing the potting soil and preparing to plant them in their pots. All right, in the bottom of each one of the planters goes the cactus and succulent soil first, because you want in the bottom part of the pot, you can put some rocks and stuff like that for better draining, which I'm not going to do in this case. But then you can also put the soil that is made for succulents, which is fast draining. I'm going to put that in the very bottom of each pot, approximately 2.5 inches in the bottom. And then we're going to put in some of the potting mix, and then we're going to finish it off in the top with the fast draining or good draining succulent soil on the top. And then the plant is going to be done. It's going to be planted. Okay, so we're going to take, I guess we're going to go with 3 plants. I've only got 3 pots. So we're going to take the baby and 2 or 3 of the leaves that it was connected to, and we're going to have it in the pot like that on the top of that 2.5 inches of the succulent soil. And now what we're going to do next is we're going to take the potting mix and we're going to put it on top, because as you can see the roots are exposed. We're going to put it on top of the roots and kind of press it into place. We're going to probably have about 2 to 3 inches of the potting mix so that we have those long leaves firmly planted in the pot. So now we have, comes into focus, the plant is firm in its container. It's firm. You know, it's going to be a little bit of jiggle to it because you got tall leaves. We're going to put the succulent soil now on the top part. So succulent soil about 1 inch to 1.5 inches on top. Then you have we have about 3.5 inches of the potting mix, and then in the bottom we have 2.5 inches of the succulent soil. Now you could mix the two soils together, but again, we're doing this in our apartment, in our kitchen, limited for space. This is going to work just fine. I've had one now for several months that I planted this way, and it's doing great. It's actually got babies to it, so really happy with that. It's really healthy. I think it's grown another foot. So usually they say that the Sansevieria is going to be about 2 feet, but I have one that's almost 3 feet. Okay, so our plant is repotted, and it's quite a bit firmer now in there. There's our baby leaves. They have these little like sharp, they're not actually sharp, but they look like they're sharp. That's what a new leaf looks like. So those are beautiful leaves, and this leaf was this leaf came before this leaf. This leaf is the newest leaf, so you can kind of see. But I planted one of the parents and then the new baby that was connected to the rhizome in one pot, so then we have 2 pots to go. Okay, all right, so what we have in front of us is 3 new plants. We took the one big plant. I think I paid just a little less than $15 for it from Home Depot. Spotted it. It's beautiful. I don't have any right now that have like the yellowish or the lime green leaves, so we got that. We brought it home. It was really soggy, gnats flying out of it left and right. So we decided, and it also was pretty much outgrowing its pot, we decided to replant it. So we've shown you how to repot it. And they're in 3 separate containers. The leaves, the stalks of leaves are very firmly in there. What we'll do is we'll give each one a little drink of water. I read that air somehow gets between the dirt and the root, or the dirt in the bottom of the plant, and so when you put a few drops of water, it kind of adheres or causes some sort of a closure or something like that that allows everything to go on then, and there not be anything that could endanger the plant with that air trapped in there through the repotting or the replanting. I'm not sure just how it all works, but it sounded good, so I put a little bit of water in. I know Martha Stewart years ago said always put a little tiny bit of water into your plant at any time that you repot them. So we got 3 out of 1. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I've enjoyed making it. I'm going to show you a few more of the Sansevierias that I've replanted over the last few months, so you can see how they're doing. We have this beautiful one here. This is a massive, massive plant. I've got to take it sideways just so you can see. So we're well going into our 3 feet, well over 2. And we got that massive plant, and that was probably the plant that I did the previous video on, and we got him for $7.50, I believe, at Walmart clearance. So that's that one. There's a couple more in my collection. These 2 were separated from a plant that I bought from our People's Co-op, our local co-op that we're members of. That also was a massive plant that I got for under $16. These guys, that replanting took place months ago, and they're doing great. Here are a couple off of that plant that I got at Walmart for $7.50. Just a couple of long leaves in 2 pots, and then this is a smaller Sansevieria that I got this several months ago, probably almost a year ago now. It doesn't really do much, but it has made a few new leaves. But these ones I've got ribbons around them in order just to keep them straight in the pot, because the rhizomes really kind of made them kittywampus in the planters. But they're doing great too. It's been several weeks. they're holding in there. Says, you know, that you're supposed to you know, you don't really have to water them a lot in winter, but we're moving into spring, and so I do water them like every 7 to 10 days. You know, when the top layers of the soil is really sandy and stuff like that, you kind of know. But definitely when the top 1 inch of the soil is sandy and dry, you're going to want to at least add a few drops of water, and then more as summer approaches. So those are those two. The smaller one that I bought yesterday at Home Depot, and this one was already planted. It was in nice dry soil, smaller leaves. And so this was our Dracaena corn plant. And when we brought this home, we thought that we protected it well, but maybe not. By the time we got it home, several of the leaves had turned brown, really crispy. So I took those leaves out, snipped them off, and really the plant has recovered. I mean, some of the brown even went back out of the leaves, but it's doing great. And I water that once a week, and hasn't shown any symptoms that it's going to die or anything like that, so it's doing great. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them down below, and I'll be happy to come back and answer them. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I've enjoyed making it. I look forward to making more videos this summer. Spring, I'm going to be doing some of my plants, starting plants inside. I'm going to start my pumpkins and tomatoes and some thyme, I believe, inside, and I'm going to be making videos on that. And then as the weather warms up outside, I'm going to be transplanting those plants or hardening them off on my deck. And then all summer long, I'm going to be making videos about all the different vegetables and flowers that I grow in my container garden. So I hope you'll hit the subscribe button, stop back. I look forward to seeing you, and thanks for stopping.